welcome back to the Wedding Captain Co podcast with myself, Chris, and my co-host, Tom.
Those intros died to death pretty quickly, didn't they?
Yeah.
Do you remember? So we used to do those, and then it was like,
Yeah.
but we are just saying, but I don't even like podcasts that do it, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel now, like, and like, no shade to ones that do, but I feel that if I listen to a podcast like that, I'm there mouthing the thing back to them.
Yeah.
Like, I reckon, and don't put me on the spot and do it, but you know, the commune one?
Yeah.
I reckon that I could do that, most of that off.
Just having a chat over a coffee like we do most mornings.
See, you've even got the you know, like when he does it, he goes, and they all do it as well. That's it. Like,
They'll do the same
we
thing.
love you guys. There's no shade, but again, like that's for me. I was like, even now that I listen to that, and it's like, oh, that one's
You
going.
mouth it
So
back to
you
them,
know
yeah.
when the pause is going to come, don't you? So
We used to do it at the beginning of the episode, then we started recording them at the end once we knew what the episode was about. Then we kept forgetting. And we were like, "Do you know what?
So just bin it
We're not
off,
cut out
like,
for this.
you know what you're getting with us. That's it. Like, you're not expecting bells and whistles anyway. So why not? We'll just jump straight in with both feet and off we go. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the catch up that we put out a couple of weeks ago, and that's kind of brought you back up to kind of where we are in our lives and why we had a bit of a gap.
Yeah.
And now we're back with a good old fashioned topic, aren't we? Which is kind of how we've begun the pod. First, it's diving into some of these more juicy things.
Yeah, exactly. It's our job here or we think it's our job here to like look into the future and see our crystal ball. And see what the trends will be for next year and kind of go through some of the stuff that's happened this year, I guess.
Yeah.
And what makes us think that these things are going to happen next year in terms of the wedding industry, right?
Yeah, I just think it's a fun one because obviously, like we said, you know, we are eking slowly towards the end of the year, and at some point we will do like our end of year review.
Yeah.
And I know in other years we've kind of gone, oh, well, what do you think next year is going to hold? But I feel like that it deserves an episode of its own to kind of sit and go, well, what actually do you think people are going to be having at their weddings next year? What are weddings going to look like next year?
Yeah.
What, you know, not only in our jobs, but an actual physical, what are people booking? And also maybe some of the trends that emerge this year will reflect in weddings next year, and the things that emerge next year will then shape the 2027 season.
Yeah.
And I do feel at the moment that kind of we are in kind of a little bit of a renaissance of weddings and generations, like societies are changing. The way people celebrate is changing, and that is going to definitely have a knock-on effect to when those norms are going to creep into weddings as well.
Yeah, obviously different generations are going to value different things, and I think for the most part, millennials are probably a bit more flashy and a bit more big wedding people, whereas I think maybe prediction is that Gen Z probably aren't those people, and they're a bit more like have smaller weddings, half days, maybe get married abroad or that kind of thing.
Yeah, I found a really interesting stat the other day that it was before I went on holiday, and I was talking to somebody about this, and they were saying, and it was basically about the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
And it was saying that a lot of restaurants now are actually opening earlier and closing earlier due to norms that apparently they surveyed like Gen Z people, and the optimum time that they want to eat if they go out is 6:30 p.m.
Really?
Because they don't like our generation, like, or my childhood or teens memories are like, you know, you'd pre-drink till midnight and then go to a club, where they want to kind of go out and eat at 6:30 and then get home and do their skincare and get in their pajamas and be in bed by 10 so they can be up and early to the gym. It's just sweeping generalizations. But if that culture then moves into weddings, that they don't want to have a late license and a free bar flowing because a lot of them don't drink or those things, it's like that is massively going to shape the kind of the traditional format of a wedding as we know it.
Yeah, a lot of nightclubs are having to turn into bars now, or like restaurants earlier in the day.
Yeah, serve food first and then kind of add a DJ in the evening rather than, like you say, not open till midnight and stay open till 6 a.m. because everyone would be there.
Yeah. So obviously these things are going to reflect in weddings, and perhaps not as quickly as next year, but these are predictions of slow things that are going to move forward.
Definitely, And I think obviously again, I'm sure that hopefully everybody that's listening to us have got some bookings for next year, and we're already starting to hear things from their couples that the ways that they're planning weddings. But if you can kind of maybe be weathered the changes that are coming, and again, we're not experts. We don't have a crystal ball. This is purely, I think. Well, I can only speak for myself. This is only my opinion from the conversations that I've had, or the way that I think weddings are going. Is so this is how I see it. And
most of it's from experience, partially from experience this year and what we think is becoming more popular from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, but also from, I think that there is always pushback on a trend. So once something trends, there's always something the opposite that trends afterwards. Almost.
Definitely, because almost people want to be cool and or they don't want to do something if it's seen trendy. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like the new cool is being anti-trend, isn't it? And I think it's also worth saying that I haven't looked at any of like the big wedding blogs trend lists. Like I haven't gone into like the Hitched or Rock My Wedding or any of the like what they're predicting for the year. So if some of this stuff pops up in them, I'm not just regurgitating other people's opinions to you. These are all generally things that a list that we've come up with, isn't it? From
We've
our own
plucked these off the top of our head from our own experiences. These are not from anything we've researched. These are just from our experiences and chatting to other people. But yeah, so the first thing I've got is, it's probably pretty obvious to be fair, I reckon, is that more wedding suppliers and venues are going to start to bring their own content creators. I don't think this is a good thing, but I think this is going to happen. Yeah. I think planners will pretty much all have a content creator with them now. Or
even get to the point where they have one as part of their team.
Yes.
It's not even that they're bringing in a freelancer to go, oh, can you do this to me on the day? Like if you are more, it comes with the planner. They're expected that they will have their person.
I think venues will have one for like BTS content, but then they'll also have one available to the couple. Whether that's the same person or not, I'm not sure, but I do believe that all venues will start offering content creation in some sense. Not all venues, but like more venues than currently. And I don't know how this relates to other suppliers, maybe like bands and DJs and that kind of thing. DJs might start doing content creation as they start to, because DJs and magicians and that kind of thing are now starting to do full day packages for MCing and that kind of thing. So maybe they start to go into content creation because it's another easy thing that they can add on to secure more money from their day.
Particularly, like we've said as well, if weddings are going to get to the point where they're starting to finish earlier, and the value of a DJ alone seems like, well, why would I pay that much when the evening's not the most important thing to us? But if you could have them providing background music and content creation and a speaker for your outdoor ceremony during the day, again, much as that we've had kind of our share of episodes talking about content creators and how that videographers are going to have to evolve to kind of to make room for content creators in the marketplace. If weddings change where evenings aren't needed as much, DJs are going to have to evolve to kind of keep their place in the marketplace as well, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that is my prediction. One of my predictions for next year. I think it's going to be quite intense, and I think it will get worse before it gets better. I think there needs to be a point in a year or two where that reaches a head and people start getting fed up with it, whether it's couples that start going, hang on, there's too many people here filming, or there becomes rules at venues of the amount of people that can, or suppliers that can get in, or something like that. But I think there's got to be pushed back on it at some point, but I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I think next year we're going to see a lot of third-party people coming along to film.
But I even think some of this content stuff that you talk about with venues is even going to happen without the kind of the wedding being there. Like I'm sure that, again, we've all been to a wedding where I've gone over to photograph a ceremony space in the morning and the venue is showing 3 new couples around because it's all laid out for a wedding. It's the best time to market it. And I also know of a couple of venues near me, which one of them started it and a couple have almost done very identical reels each week where they do, this week at our venue. And it's like, the guy mowing the grass ready for the wedding, or them setting up, like a supplier setting up some, and it's almost like they want that like regular repeatable content to show that. And so a lot of that content is not always centric to the couple's actual wedding day. It's the general BTS of the running of the venue and the preparation of that and the upkeep of the venue. And I think that a lot of venues now, in order just to be seen and to be shown up, it's not necessarily about relying on the suppliers that are coming in or getting content creators in. It's them making their own content for them as a venue. Like just a shiny drone photo going, look how cool our historic place is, isn't enough anymore. They want to see the people that are running it behind it and how all the other little bits that go to make your wedding day. And I think you're going to see a lot more of that, I think.
Definitely. My aunt and uncle have got a wedding venue in Kent, and they're quite good with, I think they've got a videographer, but they could use content creator for it. Quite good with getting all of that stuff out, BTS stuff or introductions to their staff and that kind of thing. And like that is going to become a lot more important. There's a venue called the Post Barn, and they do a lot of like reels and TikToks kind of thing of like their staff doing different like trends and that. And
I'm finding like with bridal shops now having like the women that work in there going, what's your favourite dress? Or them kind of doing these like walking reels where each one of them's got like a different dress, like all of those things. Again, all different suppliers trying to farm those contents out. So I think you're going to see where we've been really good, and maybe hair and makeup we spoke about in the past, kind of getting their own BTS on wedding days. I think that general studio running stuff is going to get more popular too.
Definitely.
And I guess I think moving on from that point with kind of venues having their own, there's no doubt that content creators as a whole, there's going to be more of them next year. I mean, there's so many. There's again some great ones popping up. We're already starting to see ones kind of in our areas emerging that we're booked to work with more or work with multiple times already. And I think that there's been a lot of people that are either wanting to get into the industry or wanting to stay in the industry that aren't doing so great where they are and go, that's a really good thing to get into.
It's going to be a thing, and it's here to stay, and it's not a trend, I don't think. But it was also going to be one of those things that, I mean, photography became pretty saturated Then videography came along, and that was not saturated for a while, but I'd say that's getting more and more saturated.
Particularly the introduction of hybrid as well. I feel like hybrid burst out this year with photographers, and then kind of content creation came along and kind of...
Because the barrier for entry of that is so low, I think, next year it's going to get quite popular, but I think in the years following, wouldn't say it's going to struggle, but I don't know how you maintain that level of bookings with a market that's saturated.
I think the evolution of content creation is going to be big next year. And I know that it's something that you spoke about when we did our 50th episode. You talked about where do you see the industry being in 5 years, and you talking about like photography and videography and content merging. I think already the level of content creation, which is all the stuff which is being produced by some content creators with the additions of audio or starting to grade the stuff, drones, Super 8, that sort of stuff which you're kind of looking at. This used to be videography add-ons, and now also becoming content add-ons. So it's like, well, at what point do they not become a content creator, become a video? And I guess it's, kind of whatever's at the core of that. And I feel like at the moment, every episode we do kind of comes back to talking about content creators. But I think in terms of how next year looks, they are still going to be one of the big things.
Yeah, definitely.
Or if I spoke to a lot of my couples for next year, I'm sure if I asked my couples from the year before, some of them still wouldn't have known what a content creator is. Where it's very much a buzz term with couples that are booking weddings over the next couple of years.
Yeah, well, I've added an extra to my packages called the content extra or something, which is just like they get 3 reels after the day, like one summary reel, one reel with all the best bits, and then one of their choice or something like that. And then they'll get like a clip from walking down the aisle, a clip from the confetti, that kind of thing, and separate it and just like.
And it'll be clips from your camera though, because I know that obviously.
Yeah, that's from the camera.
Like you did really kind of. I feel like you've done a really good job of like planting seeds this year, where like the day after a wedding, you've posted like a clip, haven't you, on a story? Yeah. But you've always been really kind of obviously put shot on iPhone in the corner, which in some ways I think is almost like a really good flex to go. If I can do this on a phone, can't wait for your your actual camera thing to arrive. Yeah. But at the same time, it kind of establishes that you are taking phone content as well as your camera stuff. Yeah. So I think you could easily, if the camera was mounted there, that could
still do phone stuff. Yeah, I've done it before.
In terms of immediacy, for you to go, but you know what, you can have all those clips the next day.
Yeah.
If it buys me some time then to get.
Yeah, so I could easily do that. But they will get the full clip from the camera. But the idea is that it gets rid of that sense of immediacy. So, and that's been I say popular extra, but not many people go for the add-ons a lot. So it's been, other than like the uncut footage, it's been quite, people have been adding that on, and you can tell people are like, well, I could go for content creation, or I could get my videographer to send me a few files afterwards and that'd be enough. Yeah. So people have started going for that.
And I think that'd be interesting as well. Like, again, I've wrote in my notes is I can't really comment because I don't offer it and have no real intention of offering it at the moment. But a lot of, again, peers in my industry, I know that a lot of people, and obviously we had Hannah on at the start of the year, didn't we, to talk about hybrid shooting, is I'd be interested to know that at the very the beginnings of this year, I had a lot of photographer friends that are like, oh, I'm going to add hybrid because it'd be a really good way to kind of add something extra to kind of my photography. Yeah. I'll be interested to know is how many of those are still consistently booking hybrid packages now that people go, well, for the price of that add-on, we could get an actual another person doing content. Yeah. And I know, obviously, again, one comes, and I don't want to kind of keep going around circles on kind of banging the drum about content. But if any of you guys out there started offering hybrid at the start of the year, I would love to know how many of your bookings next year contain it, or if you know whether you have lost out on people adding the hybrid add-on just so they can get a content creator instead. I would be really interested to know. Would be interesting, just to kind of, as a general kind of stat of how that has affected. Has investing in hybrid paid off for you, or are you finding out now that people are still rathering to get a content creator? Yeah. Drop into our DMs, let us know, and then obviously when we record our next episode, we can present back to you our findings. Yeah, because I think again that's the point of this episode, isn't it? As much of it's our opinions, we'd like to kind of get the lay of the land, and there's far more of you out there than there are of the two of us sat here, and so I would like to know how that looks. Yeah, we're not necessarily representative of everyone, especially since between us, we've not actually worked with that many content creators. We're sitting here saying they're more popular, but we've not actually worked with a lot of them. So if obviously there are videographers and photographers out there probably worked with more, specifically probably photographers have probably worked with more, because generally it's video or content, isn't it? Yeah. Sure. But yes, that'd be nice to know. But I think with how weddings are changing in general, I think we alluded to it earlier that like the new generation are wanting probably shorter days or different structured days to what we normally get. So where we're used to offering big packages with everything included, I feel like there's going to be a shift in the type of weddings that people are going to have to start targeting. Yeah. And I think with that comes price budging, where we're all getting a bit
saturated and we're all fine for the same market, that market is gradually changing, and there's going to have to be times where, like, I think half-day packages are going to become much more popular.
Yeah, which is something that you said before. You've never offered a half day, have you? Where I have, but only limited to weekdays at the moment, so that I can keep my weekends free for full days. But if it got to the point where I wasn't getting bookings, that would be, I think, one of the first things that I would open up, is now offering half days on weekends. Yeah. If it meant I could get those, you know,
at least a Friday
to get some bookings in, at least, I think, for sure.
I think where it's heading that way, I think I've definitely considered doing a half day, and it's something I wouldn't have considered before, because I'm like, I can get a wedding from that. But knowing that I think there's going to be more and more weddings in that market, so it's a bigger pool to target. I think it's an option.
Or also, I think how people's plans evolve. Like, interestingly, I can talk about this because I've had it happen this week. I booked a couple in about 3 or 4 months ago, and the bride had followed me for whatever reason for a little while, had got engaged and said, you know what, I want to reach out now because I want to make sure that you're available for our date. I'll be really interested in having you for our wedding. But at the moment, we are really early days. We're having a wedding. We've got a ceremony booked. But what the rest of the day looks like at the moment, we don't really know. So we had a chat about it. And I was like, well, you seem like a really awesome couple. They align definitely on some values. Like, they were a couple that I wanted to photograph. So I was like, well, for now then, let's park it. That I'll book you for a half day package. So that'll definitely cover your ceremony and then some pictures afterwards. And, you know, maybe if you're going to head off to a dinner somewhere, we can do a little bit of that. But there's no point me blocking you out for a full day if you're not having an evening. And then they came back to me when I got back from holiday and was like, well, actually, our plans are evolving. Now we've freshened things out. It's like, well, actually, I do want this after all. And they've just upgraded me to a full day package. So I think it might be that, like you said, offering either a very kind of, like, to get the booking is offering a small starting point,
a ladder,
and giving people more flexibility for their package. You know, they don't book something 2 years away from their wedding and they have to have that by the time it arrives. You know, whether you say that I'm going to move over to an hourly option, I know some photographers that do that. They go, you must book me for a minimum of 2 hours, but after that it's by the hour. So, and then when you kind of, you know, you've got the booking, you've got a deposit to secure the date, but it's not until maybe nearer the time that they actually go, well, okay, well, what that 4 hours looks like now looks like 6, or now looks like whatever. And I think, again, as much as we don't want to be that way because it's hard to kind of guarantee income, I think being flexible is the key to being appealing, I think, with maybe some of these new wave weddings that are coming in. Yeah,
because none of us know exactly what it's going to look like, what weddings are going to look like in a couple of years' time. And for the most part, they'll probably look exactly the same. But the pool of smaller weddings is getting bigger.
Yes.
And probably the pool of bigger weddings is probably getting smaller.
Yeah, again, I think you work in that pyramid, don't you? Kind of as budgets go up, the less people have them. And I still think that a lot of these venues, which, you know, have weddings on pretty much every day of the year, and in the high seasons have multiple weddings on the same day, because those venues will still thrive, and there'll still be plenty of those kind of wedding in a box places where you pick the colours and you pay your fee. There'll still be lots of people queuing up to have those weddings because they don't require a lot of choice or originality or whatever, and that's perfectly fine for a lot of couples out there. But I know that they're not the weddings that I want to shoot, so I need to work out not only who my ideal client are, but the type of wedding my ideal client are having and the booking patterns of my ideal client. Because if my ideal client are moving back to a shorter wedding with no evening, or even a ceremony on one day and a party on the weekend, I need to make sure that I've got a package there to cater to that. Otherwise, I've got to start photographing people that aren't my ideal client just so I can book full days. Or I've got to, you know, kind of be more flexible to keep the people that I like.
Yeah, and I think we were having this conversation, I can't remember if it was off camera, but about ideal clients, because I was thinking about offering a half day. But when I look at my ideal client spends all the money on a full day. Like, they really want all the bells and whistles. They want to have fun. They want a full day in the middle of Saturday or summer or something, you know? And then, so to offer a half day package, I know I'd be targeting people that perhaps aren't necessarily my ideal client.
And I think I said to you then, I think the other way for you to do it is, because a lot of times you have those weddings where I think you could definitely word it where if you had a couple that wanted, say, a celebrant-led wedding in like a party and a festival type thing, a registrar won't come. So they'll go, fine, we'll just go do our vows at the local town hall on the Friday, and that's down to their option then. If they go, oh yeah, we'd love to have Chris along for that, it means we see him 3 days before the wedding and we still get some video of that so Granny can see it because she wasn't there. That might be something which is like, it's not necessarily a half day package, it's an add-on to the full day, but still a way for you to squeeze that lemon a little bit more and get some money that you maybe wouldn't have got otherwise. You know?
I'm having a similar thing for an inquiry I've currently got who are getting married. on the Tuesday, and I think they're having like a pre-party on the Monday, and they were like, oh yeah, let's get you along to that as well because that'd be fun. So, and that's again in the UK, it's not, it sounds like something that you would do like in a destination wedding, but more and more people are deciding to like split it up if the day's not as important, like split into a few days.
Yeah, and I haven't put that on my list actually. I think I've talked about kind of multiple days becoming a thing, but I also think, it was one of the things that I thought would happen more this year, is UK destination weddings. Now, I know that sounds weird, but the idea of, like, I don't know, you've got like a couple, kind of a young couple who work in the city, kind of around London or whatever, and the idea of them going, I don't want to go to a venue and just have a day, where if they could go and find like a country house in the countryside, book it for the weekend, all of their, there's 20 bedrooms or whatever, their friends rock up on a Friday night, you get a caterer to do a banging barbecue on the Friday night, that's your welcome dinner, you have the wedding on the Saturday, they do a farewell brunch on the Sunday morning, and everybody goes home. The premise that, for me, the thing that I think makes a destination wedding good is the fact that everybody has travelled. So that level of effort to be at the wedding is high. So that the vibe is there. Whether you've got on a plane to Spain or you've literally got, a 6-hour train to Cornwall from London or whatever, the level of effort is still there. And I think you're going to start to see more of that, I think, pop up. Like the idea of these little like multi-day celebrations, but happening here.
I do agree. And it's based in Suffolk, called the Wilderness Reserve.
Yes.
And they do that kind of thing. And I believe that when I was chatting to Adam Wing, his kind of like vision for the way he got married was the fact that you could have it all weekend, and it was kind of like a destination wedding at home, if that makes sense. Yeah. Everyone had to travel a certain distance, but you could have your family there the day before or whatever, and it wasn't just everyone goes for one day then goes to work next day. It was like a whole event rather than
I think that people are craving that. Like there's a venue near us called Southend Barns, and I know that when in somewhere in the middle of this year with the view for next year bookings, they've actually put together a package now for a weekend wedding, and they only have on-site accommodation, which is like 6 bell tents, a shepherd's hut, and then the wedding lodge. So that very much was the idea that it would be like, say, like 20 or 30 for dinner on the Friday night, then the big wedding on the Saturday, and then say brunch for the people that only stay on, but they're still selling it as like a weekend wedding package. And I think that again there's going to be more of that popping up, or the idea of if people are spending big money on a celebration, they don't want it to be all of the money for one day. They want like a weekend experience for that. Like it's a whole wedding celebration that encompasses, or it feels like you're getting a better deal, doesn't it? Even if it ends up being a Friday night and a Sunday morning, you can still go, our wedding lasted 3 days. So it's more comfortable to spend that chunk of money on it.
It's a more mindful experience as well. It's like there's something so precious and so demanding about having all of your eggs on that one day. Whereas if you're spreading it out across a few days and you know that those people have booked those days off to just relax and be at a retreat somewhere or wherever it is in a field in the middle of nowhere or at Southend Barns or whatever it is, like, you know that then that family has dedicated that headspace to your event and everyone can just like not worry about where they're staying because normally like there's accommodation included, not worry about dinner the day before, and there's not so much pressure on that one particular day then.
Definitely. Also, and I find that like when we get to bridal prep in the morning and you speak to a couple and go, how did you all get last night? And you often find they all met in a local pub anyway, or if like the brides are staying at like the hotel the night before, the groom might have popped along and had like a bit of a dinner with them and then gone home. So those things are happening anywhere, where if you can like say facilitate that. And I think also something else which I hadn't thought of, and just as you were talking it kind of came to me as well, is also with British weather, like you could even find that the Friday night before your wedding was beautiful, and to kind of turn up and get some coverage of like this really lovely like barbecue and sunset evening, even if you wake up to rain the next day when the day you actually like kind of say your vows or whatever, you still kind of feel that your day was a mixed. You can call all of that your wedding.
Your day.
Do you know what I mean?
Wedding,
rather than you wouldn't believe it, the night before we watched the sunset and then it was horrible. Like you still kind of feel that 2 out of 3 days of our wedding was nice. Like it kind of, again, it makes it less pressure, doesn't it, to perform or for this day to be everything. Because you've got some stuff around it.
Definitely. And that's one of the great things about destination weddings is that the wedding itself is usually like, normally they're quite late, aren't they? Like 3-4 p.m. And so they're only half a day anyway. But then you've got like the whole pressure of the day doesn't necessarily on the wedding doesn't necessarily roll on that day because you've got a meal the day before or a party the day after, or some people do like a week building up to it, and it's like that's the experience that matters. Sometimes the day is just like the formality of having the ceremony. And
as well, when you get with destinations, a lot of people go out a few days before the wedding, and then obviously the couple often stay the way after. But I'm sure that when they look back at their wedding, they see that as the whole, like the getting on the plane to go into the wedding, not the night before the wedding, sat in the same hotel, isn't it? So I think it's all of those things, and I think that coming to the UK, I think we'll see more of that, and particularly when you've got places like Wilderness, which are kind of getting those higher end weddings, that becomes aspirational in itself, isn't it? It's not all you have to be in Italy, you have to be here. There are these places in the UK that offer these really kind of bespoke retreat luxury things.
Yeah, like outside of everything else, like still in the little bubble with it. That makes sense.
But when you need to come home, you haven't got to then fall onto your EasyJet flight or worry about your baggage or whatever. You can literally get in your car and drive a few hours home. And I think that's really, really appealing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I think like style-wise as well. I think we probably talk about this a little bit, but obviously, I think Editorial has had its day, and I think that documentary will become a hard push for a lot of people next year. I think couples are going to start to get bored of the whole Vogue thing a little bit. This is not every couple. There's always going to be a market for it.
I think people are starting to see through it. I think there's for every post that someone's out there now with this Vogue style, there's the kind of like the reel going, oh, you've just paid for an ad in Mac. It's not actually Vogue. And so I think couples are starting to, that prestige of like that style now is starting to go. I think people are starting to kind of get more wise to it, I suppose, if that's the right way to.
Yeah, and I think Gen Z or like the next wave of people having weddings are less flashy. Like they're more they're more just, I want it captured as naturally as possible. And so I think documentary photography is going to thrive, and I think that editorial photographers will start adding documentary edges to their marketing and branding.
You're already seeing it already, aren't you? I think for people that really embrace that like direct flash Vogue editorial style, at the start of the year or in the end this time last year, we're very much pushing as, their H1 was editorial wedding photographer. And I've seen so many now, particularly on Instagram, those little bios are getting changed to documentary with an editorial twist or editorial with a documentary base or something. They're almost trying to appeal to both people. Like, I do take the stylized stuff, but it's almost like you will get there. It comes from a documentary place, and that's got to come from people wanting that. And I think that's going to also lead quite nicely into the way that edits look. I think with the rise of film photography, which we will get into in a little bit, film style edits are more back in rather than really desaturated colours or really kind of vibrant things. I think you're going to get a lot of film graded or digital made to look like film. I think you're going to get a lot of that, and also a lot of like true tone images. Like the latest cover of Vogue, the Timothée Chalamet thing with like shot by Leibovitz, it's literally the most ungraded thing ever. It literally looks like it's been taken on like a really crappy thing, and like it's like it almost looks like it's like an iPhone ungraded. And I think, and you're seeing a lot, like it's almost cool now to be like, it's not the photo that's made the thing look good. It's a really rubbish photo of a scene which is really good. It's almost like that super documentary, not in like a Martin Parr like humorous way, but almost in a like, oh my god, this is a snapshot of a really amazing day type thing. And I think I even think that you're going to start to see, like you said, kind of like the anti-trend thing.
The idea that imperfection is perfection.
Perfection even more. People like, again, and I love that kind of embracing imperfection, the idea of like photographing messy tables. But rather than that being with like direct flash now, you're going to see a lot of stuff which is almost looks unedited. Or even, I think you might even get photographers that are starting to almost just push JPEGs out. So it gives it that real kind of like raw vibe.
Or like Fuji vibes where it's like the JPEG just has the film simulation built in or whatever.
And it'd be really interesting to see that where this imperfection, like how far do you push it? Will you get photographers that are literally just shooting in JPEG? And that way it's an easy way to complete with the content, because they're literally just downloading their cards, culling it and sending it
off.
And if that's what your couple wants, why would you spend 2 days editing?
But the idea that if you asked me like 7 years ago or whatever, like, would you consider using XYZ footage, whether it's phone footage or camcorder footage or whatever in your film, I'd have been like, oh no, because it would
quality
polish Whereas now I'm actively using a camcorder which films in 4K. It's very good quality, and I'm actively putting a VHS overlay on it to make it look worse,
the footage
because it looks so much more authentic when it looks worse. And I'm doing that because I think it's cool and nostalgic, but also I think it appeals to people who want realism as well.
And I think, again, with that kind of rush of film photography coming in this year, I think you're going to see more of that next year, or even people that aren't kind of old school analog film lovers people are going to start picking up point and shoots. So even if you're just like a generic photographer, is not the right word, but you're just a kind of middle of the road wedding photographer. If you get asked by 3 clients, oh, can you shoot some film at our wedding? Yeah. Whether you like that's like your kind of jam, or you're really kind of into like the nerdy bits of film photography, if you could just take like a little point and shoot with a built-in flash camera, get them developed and chuck them to the couples, and they love it. And that's why I think you're going to get a lot of people shooting digital and just going, oh, we'll whack the film thing on it, or we'll put a fake board around it, and I'll tell them it's film. You're going to get a lot of that. But then I also think as well, you're going to get a lot of people which really do, much into the route that I have, and plenty of others that really do double down on film and go, this is where I really want to be. Like, I want to shoot much more film at your wedding than I do digital, and the couples will make the allowances for the shortcomings in film. Yeah. Rather than when film kind of went out of favour for digital because of all of the convenience and the rest of it, couples are going to almost embrace that anti-content feel of it and go, I love that you can't give me previews the next day because you've got these little metal canisters that need to go to a lab.
You've got to wait for them. And
and that surprise of not knowing what's on them and are they even going to come out, and all of that will really add the excitement to the wedding photos.
And the mindfulness in taking them as well, because I feel like there's an element of whenever you work with someone who has a film camera where, and I think you've done it before at weddings I've been to, where it's kind of like you're in the middle of the couple shoot and you go, right, stop, because I need to get my film camera. And if you can do this, because I need to take this on the film camera.
And I do, because
it's almost a bit of like slow down. Like,
and I find that the couples are more forgiving, particularly the ones that have been interested in the film. Once you pull the film camera up, like in that moment, they might have been like laughing and pushing, and then they go, oh no, this one's on film, so we can't delete it. Like they will almost give it that little bit of time to kind of give it that little, because they know that it's not as, I can't just shoot a million. I can't just shoot a million of them. Yeah. So that, and I think that some of that will come back round. So although that I agree with what you say, the editorial maybe is going away, and documentary will stay, and people will shoot in documentary photos on film, like that almost like street style at weddings, I think will become really popularised.
I think so.
In the portrait moments, I can almost see those going almost back to like classic wedding photography of like just the standard stop, stare, look type thing to honour. But that on like a medium format negative or whatever will be
and I think that
benchmark.
For video, I think that the postcards that have sort of been trending a little bit are prime examples of that.
Yeah.
Like I've intended to post a lot more this year, but I've got a lot built up to post. But the ones I've posted have been really popular because they're just natural snapshots of a day that you wouldn't see in a wedding film, because they're long takes. Probably the whole take probably wouldn't go in the wedding film, or it wouldn't have the natural audio in it or whatever, and people just enjoy watching to see, like, it's street photography but in video.
It is, yeah. When I say that postcard kind of, as it's called, is exactly that, isn't it? I think now is that, and particularly, and again, we can talk, we're older, but if you are kind of generally, they have grown up on fast cut, polished this, everything. I think that craving of like, just show me, like, I need to know what's real as well, though.
Yeah, show me something
real. Just show me something real. And the idea of having that real kind of honest, natural look at their wedding to sit alongside the other stuff is why it's done so well. And I know selfishly, I would love like a set of those like digital postcards to just kind of see. Like, I'd want the other thing as well, to have the kind of to have the curation and the work, but to almost see the raw materials of it.
I agree. It's not even a deliverable for me, but for something to have that of like, it's artistic shots, but it's also natural. Like, for the most part, like, you try and pick a shot that looks good, but also has something in it of just people laughing, or just, you can hear the music, like the guitarist in the background and that kind of thing. Like, all of that stuff makes you feel like you're in somewhere.
But I think they are, like, the people that do it really well, I mean, some of the ones that you've done that I've loved the most, essentially are, and I do this sometimes on my phone, like, moving pictures.
Yeah.
Like, if you find a really nice piece of light, and you literally compose as if you're going to take a still,
and someone walks through,
but you just hit record, like you say that, like someone walks through that, or as they lean forward, like the shadow gets longer and shorter, or like any of those sorts of things. I think that's what. Like, it needs to be a pleasing frame in the first place. Just the fact that it moves isn't enough, is it? No. But the idea that you could have kind of this really beautiful kind of set scene in like a nice part of someone's wedding or a cocktail hour or whatever, and then just almost letting that photo come to life in like a 30-second take.
And if you watch it for long enough, you feel like you're in it, rather than like a wedding film where you're taken along on a journey. You're just allowed to sit in that moment for a bit. Yeah,
as if you were stood there on the day, just kind of gazing. Yeah, very much so. And I think that's something which I think you'll see more of. And I think if anything, I would much rather make those at a wedding. That would be my foray into video, rather than doing hybrid. and be like, oh no, switch to photo, switch to film, like that.
Yeah.
Like just to go, because in a 2-hour drinks reception, I could easily go, oh, there's a really nice light fall in here. Click, get my thing. Oh, I'm just gonna stand for 15 seconds. I'll then move on. And I think that would be, but it's being that idea of being locked off though, isn't it? And keeping it still and stuff, which I think makes the postcard.
Yeah.
But I think if I was to do video selfishly, I think I would love those. That's why I would.
Yeah, because it's moving photo, isn't it?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Whenever I see photographers that go into video, it's just a series of those postcards, I think, anyway, for the most part.
Yeah, definitely. Or even I find that the reels that I watch most on Instagram as well, a lot of times, are street photographers with their letters on.
Yeah.
And them holding their camera up, and you can see the light in real time. And then you can see that they've dialed it down by 3 stops. So that like bit of light coming between 2 buildings is literally a slit of light for them in black. And you almost see how it plays out in real time and how the photo looks. Where normally you only ever see the photo and have to assume the rest, but you can see it, and that's what I really like.
Yeah. Talking about the metas as well, actually, I think it's something else that is coming like massively into trend, and I think is probably going to start to die down, is BTS content for at least for photo and video. I know I spoke about content creators coming along for venues and that kind of thing, but I think for photo and video, BTS is reaching a bit of ahead. Like, I know that we say sort of, will couples only follow you and one other videographer, be the person to do it, and I still agree with that. I still agree with that you're much better off doing it than not doing it. But I think the importance, everyone says that it's so important to post BTS at the moment. I don't think next year it's going to be as important, because I don't think you'll stand out by posting.
I think that's exactly that. You've hit the nail on the head that you won't stand out for being the BTS guy anymore. I think, again, there's we spoke about people that have done it really well, or people that have gained big followings from exclusively showing more BTS than finished product. Or they've almost built their following or built their businesses purely on their unique style of BTS or the volumes of it that they post. I don't think it's going anywhere, in that it's still expected of you rather than just posting work, but it's not novel anymore. No. But I find that and I know we obviously see a kind of a skewed view of suppliers because we follow more, but even as couples, if they've probably looked at one hairstylist, they've looked at 10 that all do the pan round with the ring. So it's just, how do you differentiate that from the next one anymore? I think that's just become the benchmark now. It's not, oh, look at this person, I've never seen someone do that before. Like, there needs to be something new in the world of BTS. And that's what my phone videos were,
of like shot on iPhone videos of BTS, but the camera wasn't in the shot. It was like, here's what I shot on my phone whilst I was shooting in the camera, sort of thing. So that was my idea of standing out. But I mean, it's not like something I don't know if I'm going to continue or not. It probably did nothing for me, like business wise. I love doing it, and I love seeing just how far I could push an iPhone image. But it's whether it's worth it for the business. But
that's it.
It's finding something new that stands out, basically, is the most important thing.
Yeah, and I think and also it's really hard, and without sounding kind of super jaded with socials, is that because there is so much content now and we consume so much in such a short period of time, we're not the ones that dictate whether that trend of doing BTS that way takes off or not. But there's got to be something, hasn't there? There's got to be like whether it takes a new piece of kit or new whatever to kind of come along for people to go, oh, that's that. But even I find over the course of this year, like I bought my metas in October, like so I've had them about a year now. When I was first going to weddings with them, there was still a lot of people like, you've got spy glasses, this and that. But now, even in the last few months, it's very much like, and they notice now, you've got the metas, and they're interested, but people know what they are now. It's not, oh my God, I didn't know those wizardry existed. It's, you've got them, how do you find them? And they've almost become more normal now. It's not kind of like the selling point or the gimmick that they were.
Oh my God, there's a camera in there.
Even 6 months ago. You've got metas. And it's very much like that. And so I think it takes that next thing to come along, doesn't it, now, to kind of go, that's the next, that's the thing that's going to make you stand out, or whatever. And the same, maybe before that was the Insta360. The fact that you could see this footage, you could see everywhere, it's like, that's insane.
So look at that.
But now it's just like, he's got, like, even people that aren't photographers and videographers go, that's Insta360 from 360 footage. And so it's and I wish I had the answer to what the next thing was, so that when it happens, we can pan back to this episode and go, look, I told you, but I don't have it. But I think that's it. Like, BTS needs to evolve into something new, and just using the same ways won't make you stand out in the way that did even 6 months ago.
Yeah, because if you're posting Ray-Ban footage, so is the other person that's followed that couple is following. So
yeah. And I think the next kind of biggest topic to tackle, because that kind of encompasses 2 or 3 of the points that we've made, is AI. Like, we've done an episode on AI last year. I think we were well overdue one this year that hasn't happened. But with the advances in, the algorithm for Instagram now, particularly Google's massive AI update, ChatGPT getting better, AI tools improving all the time, there is no doubt that is going to have an effect not only on the way that we run our businesses, but also the ways that couples book and plan their weddings.
Yeah. I mean, I use AI a lot in my business. I use it a lot personally as well. Even the photo stuff, it really crosses the boundary between what is a photo, but the background on my phone is a picture of my two cats sat next to each other, and it never happened in real life. It's an AI photo, but they're my two cats that I uploaded, and they actually look like my cats, and it's like a nice little like framed photo from my phone background. But I know that it never happened, but it's a nice memory, like nice sort of like recollection
an ideology of what
happens.
Of
them. And I think there's going to be a lot of that in terms of not necessarily what we're producing as video and photo, but in terms of like maybe marketing and branding.
I would, Or even that, I would love to know as well, like as years go on, is once obviously we hand our galleries over, I would love to know if there's people that go, oh, well, maybe I could, like, if I run this through AI, because I just add this in, or like, I don't know, like a year away from a wedding, like someone's granny passes away, and you've seen these like, AI things now where they can pump a high resolution photo into AI and it makes her smile and like wave at you and stuff. Like, I would almost want to see what my images look like that, or if people are doing that stuff to them. But we, I guess, won't know. But I was kind of tying it back to, let's say, the tools that we use to kind of, to us to run our businesses. But also, you know what it's like that you can sit and have an open conversation with ChatGPT. And then we're probably naive to think that there aren't couples sit down going, hey, we have never planned a wedding before. We live in this part of the UK. This is our budget. Can you plan a wedding for us? Go.
Tell us what suppliers to book. Tell us the best ones for that price.
How much I expect to pay.
I get inquiries through ChatGPT now, and I should really ask them what they're typing in. But they say we found you through ChatGPT, and I'm like, oh wow, that's cool. But that's going to be a huge thing. And like you say, but when people get their photos, are they putting them through AI and doing something to them? Have you heard of Nano Banana? Google Nano Banana. So Nano Banana is a photo editor built into Gemini. I'll show you it after this.
I think the only reason that I've heard about it is because you told me about this. I've got a feeling that you showed me on a group chat with me and Josh when it was about your champagne photo. Yes.
So essentially on my Instagram, there is a photo of me spraying some Prosecco from a wedding.
To celebrate your 10 years in business.
10 years in business, and that photo, while it did happen, is edited in Nano Banana, basically. So essentially the photo for me was a bit too cropped in. I wanted it a bit wider. The spray didn't go to plan, and I wanted the spray to be a bit more dramatic, and my Ray-Ban glasses have, like, they go dark but they don't go dark enough, so I darkened the glasses. So I literally put it into Nano Banana and was like, darken the glasses, make it look sunny because it was a bit like grey and dark, and zoom out and make the spray look better, and it did it all. And that's the image.
So it's basically like an all-in-one of Gen Fill, isn't it? So when you go into Photoshop and you select, like, you'd have to select the glasses in general, and then go, can you make these darker? Done that. Then you've done expand Gen Fill on the background, and then something else. So basically, you just feed it the whole image and go, do all of this for me at once.
Yeah, but in natural language, which means the average Joe can use it there. And I guess, like, it's an unrealistic expectation of a photo. It's the equivalent of airbrushing a photo. It did happen, but it never happened in that way. So I guess whether I should be admitting it, I don't know. But I think for me, it's like nice to have that. I like putting stuff through it anyway. Like, I told my mum about it and took a photo of her, and she's like, can you make me look 20 years younger? So I put it through and was like, make this woman look 20 years younger. And it did, and it was pretty cool. But the fact that anyone can edit now just with text and not having to download a random bit of software for free, and it's really good. And then you can even change the angle. So I got it to, like, can you change the angle so this is me from the side instead? And it showed a side angle of me. And it's like, what? Like, this is crazy. And that is something I wouldn't post because that never happened.
And I think that's it. And this is the fine line, though, isn't it? I'm sure that we're starting to kind of lean into the kind of the ammunition for an AI episode here alone. Like, there's still, I still have very hard lines at the moment where, like, to use, like, the Gen Fill to remove something is one thing, but to go, oh, actually, there needs to be an image between this sequence. If I feed it the frame before it and after it, can you just generate me one for the middle? That's still very much a hard line to me at the moment where it didn't happen. Like, or if you, like, say, like, I have a perfect confetti photo, but there's always a piece of confetti over the bride or groom's face. Can I go, oh, can you not just make me one that doesn't have it?
Yeah.
It probably would, with the ammunition you had to feed it, do a pretty good job of making one. But I think for me, it's very still much, because that like documentary heart of me is like, no, my couple have paid me for a photo service, and if it can do that, then what is my job anyway?
Yeah.
I'm still kind of at the moment going,
existential.
It needs to kind of, it needs to be this.
Yeah.
But on a base level, if it was, you know, like, oh, here's a really nice photo of me, here's a really nice photo of you, I want to make an invite for my wedding.
Yeah.
Can you take these 2 photos and make us look like we're stood here on holiday, and, you know, do this?
Yeah.
That would make a really nice couple photo for us just to have on our invite, rather than it be a selfie from the corner of our bedroom.
Or if it's going to be like a table centerpiece photo or something like that, I'll make this photo, or upload a load of photos from different holidays, and make them all uniform, so all the table centerpieces look the same.
And things like, I think ChatGPT helping with that stuff as like an editor as well as like a planning guide. I think you're going to see a lot more of that this year. Like, I know that you put in your notes, you had like favors, didn't you, at a wedding this year? Yeah. Where, like, you know, you've seen before where couples have got a photo of every person. This was like almost like an AI version of them, isn't it? Like in their dream job, or how the couple perceive them to be, or something.
Yeah,
like,
so if someone's in the army and they like football, it was like a guy stood next to a tank on a football pitch, and that kind of thing.
So like those things, and again, to get an illustrator to draw like 100 of those is crazy.
Yeah.
But they were really fun. Obviously, they look super consistent.
Yeah.
Where if you can just pay for a month of an AI account, like an AI subscription, and smash out 100 of them, get them printed.
And it was so entertaining and so personal as well.
Again, for fairly low cost.
Yeah.
And it's like, and again, I know there's probably graphic designers and illustrators screaming at us right now.
Yeah.
Or if you want that kind of level of bespoke art, then you're never going to get it from that. But this is the kind of, it is the cut price version, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, there's a fine line between using AI to manipulate a memory and using AI to enhance something like that. Something like, you know, creating your stationery, or, you know, doing the AI photos for your guests, or making it a little bit fun. But for what we do, I think, you say, like, if you're generating an AI frame, that moment never happened. So there is a line that's drawn. And for my champagne spray, that wasn't a memory that I particularly like.
It was just you needed a piece of marketing post to mark 10 years. Yeah. And I think that's it. And when I think, that companies for stuff like Temu and AliExpress and stuff exist, and people know that they're the cheap, easier version of it. But if it only fills the purpose for what they need it to do, I don't particularly agree with it, so I won't use them. But loads of people do, which is why they're popular. Yeah. And I think it's the same thing. As people go, oh, we'd love to have those as our favours, but I can't afford to spend $2,000 on an illustrator to draw me 100.
Yeah.
I'll just do it on AI.
Yeah.
And that stuff's always going to exist. So, you know, and again, I like to think that there probably will be some people who are that hell-bent on saving money that will just get all their mates' iPhone photos, run them through ChatGPT or Nano Banana, and go, can you make me something which looks like a professional wedding image?
Yeah.
And go, oh, here's a gallery of my wedding that was made by an AI generator from all my friends' iPhone photos. And it probably would do it, which is terrifying.
It really is, yeah.
But people still need to have that kind of moral compass or understanding of that's not their memory.
No.
Like, do you know what I mean? And that's why I think we hopefully will always have a place, because a lot of the Gen Z stuff, people
will understand
they are pulling back to what is
from
real.
The internet,
But there are always going to be people that go, I don't care, I just want it.
Yeah, the generation that grow up with AI will want as much as possible to avoid it.
Yeah.
As in, like, with their memories, I think.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Or because that technology is there at their disposal, they almost kind of want to go back the other way to kind of get that anti-trend, or also just to kind of ground them as to what is real. And I like to think that in certain parts of their life, and like you said with your kind of champagne spray, they're happy using that. But when it comes down to something as core memory as a wedding, they're always going to go,
holidays and stuff like that. Yeah, you just wouldn't, like, I've seen people Photoshop themselves in front of things on a holiday, and it's like, but you didn't do it. Like,
or again, I think, you know, or we find it as well, like, you go to a tourist stop on a holiday and it's rammed with people.
Yeah.
If you could just chuck your photo from, like, in front of the castle in the Magic Kingdom in and go, make it empty.
Yeah.
And it did it.
But that moment never happened. Yeah, you don't look back and be like, oh, it was a quiet day in the park, wasn't it?
It's like, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Yeah, but there are people that would want it like that.
Yeah.
And so they're always going to do it.
People with background, that's part of the experience. You remember it as being a busy park. And
Yeah. And I like that to go, oh, that was a really heaving day. Like, I know you were raging when there was the guy like eating his popcorn and sat on the floor literally next to your
behind the photo pass person.
And the fact he asked him to move, I still find ludicrous now. But at the same time, though, now I think a year away from that, you look at it as like a funny thing to look at that kid, he would not move.
Yeah. Also with like text-based AI still, like making readings and speeches and things like that. There was a post, I can't remember who posted it. It might have been Rui, but maybe someone else who posted a AI generated, like, generate me a groom speech through ChatGPT. And oh my God, it was eerily similar to like every groom speech I've seen, and like there were usable parts from it from a film, but it was kind of like scary because it's like anyone could just put that in, and yes, it could probably do with some more personalization, like, oh, my wife does this and this and this, and here's our story, and maybe some elaboration into it. But the fact that a groom can write his speech in 30 seconds in the morning for AI now, that is simultaneously clever and also quite scary because it's going to be less personal than ever.
And it harks back to that same thing, doesn't it? The idea of sentiment is, I'd like to think that pretty soon the wife would know you didn't write that, or like the partner would go, that's definitely not you. But when it comes to someone who's nervous or hasn't got the skills to put together a reason and go, I have this idea, can you bring it to life for me?
We can already tell. I can already tell a mile off when they've Googled it. Because they'd be like, oh, on behalf of my wife and I, and then it would start with all that stuff, and they'd be like, and I'd like to thank this family and then this family.
They go to all the classics straight away. Like it's a very set structure.
You've got that off Google.
Definitely.
So I hope that ChatGPT starts to show those patterns, and then you can tell. But then people don't care anyway. Like,
and again, we know because we go to that many weddings. But their mate would still sit there and clap them on and go, "You did a great speech."
And like great joke about the cake being in tears. And
I think it's that, isn't it? But I think definitely. I think in terms of AI, from all stages, say from planning the wedding to helping you bring the things to life, and even when it comes to writing emails to suppliers as well, what questions should I be asking? They'll get ChatGPT to go, these are the things that you need to know. So it's super interesting. I think that's going to play a big part in how we are at weddings next year.
Looking forward to seeing our AI topic as well.
Yes, it's definitely firmly on the list. Maybe for early next year that might be a really good thing to jump into.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I think the next point that you've put on your list, that I'm quite intrigued about this, because it's not something that I kind of saw on my radar, but for you it plays right into your hands, doesn't it? And you've written there that you think there's going to be more fun wedding films again. Yeah,
I'm starting to see a trend, and this might be just my opinion, but I've definitely heard other people say it, of the reels or the things that are posted on Instagram are definitely more focused on like fun or high energy. Like, I don't know whether it's because I'm surrounding myself with the people that are similar to me, or that's the work that I like, but I'm starting to sort of see a lot more high energy films, or at least trailers on Instagram. And I think that that's going to continue next year. I think people are going to really lead with high energy content.
I'm going to apologise to Max now. He's been absolutely on one for his entire episode. He's really starting to annoy me. So
Max has decided he's been quiet.
Face sour. It's literally, I cannot pacify this dog today. But
he's been quiet since episode 10. He's decided it's time now
to make a guest appearance again on the episode. But I think it's true. And I think, like we said earlier, that you said with editorial going, editorial video, and we've spoke about it almost as a stereotype, haven't we, of kind of violins and black and white, or these like long slow pans of couples just stood not moving. People are moving. I think people are moving beyond that now, and they're like, no, I don't want to stand with like a stare as you pan through me. I just want to see me have fun. And I know we spoke about like Adam's film, didn't we, like in the last episode as well, like the one that the Lawsons made for him. And the joy seeps out of that film. We're in the dancing in the moment, and maybe again it doesn't show people in the most sort of like aesthetic or like super like glamorous angles, but it's fun.
It's got
the absolute soul of a wedding, and I think that your films do that really well anyway. And I'm hoping that with that documentary element, which is going to hopefully come back next year, people are more self-assured about they'd rather see themselves happy
being themselves
than like looking bougie and like serious, which is what editorial kind of is.
The editorial leaked into the video, and the video became like, I want to see myself as if I'm in a piece of cinema. But now it's like, I want to see myself just enjoying. Just
and on a camcorder or on a phone, I don't care. I just want to see me having a nice time. So then those days that I am miserable, I can look back at my wedding films and go, that was the best day. All the people that I like are there, and I had a damn good time with them.
And also it's the easiest if you are documentary, or I wouldn't call myself documentary. I would call myself authentic, but not documentary.
I feel like you're the perfect definition of a planned wedding photographer.
I do say that to people as well. But I feel like as someone who tries to capture 99% natural stuff, 90% natural stuff, I feel like the easiest mood to lean into is happiness, because that's what should ooze on the wedding.
Also, you don't want to encourage people to be sad on their wedding day, do you? It's a natural byproduct of emotional family or occasions. But I wouldn't never say to a couple, you just sit there and cry for me because it will look amazing.
If you're shooting documentary and everyone's having a laugh and a chat, it's really hard to make an like a slow cinematic wedding film. Does that make sense? So
but I think that's the joy of it. But I think some people always think documentary is a set style, where for me documentary is looking at what's in front of you. Like, I don't guarantee that my pictures are going to be happy, sad, or indifferent. They are what you are, and some days naturally are more emotional, and some days are naturally more funny, and some days naturally more happy, and that's the joy of watching what plays out in front of you, isn't it?
And like you say, I'm more or less the same, except I have that extra bit of like plannedness where I might bring a speaker, or I might get the bridesmaids and groomsmen out and plan it, but let them do the thing.
I think for you to set a scene, like, oh, I've made this really cool like scenario for you to have fun in, but what happens in it once they go
is all up to you.
Isn't up to you, but you've got to say by turning that song on, or going, oh, I'll stand in this place, or let's go here for this. You offer that. Oh, I've brought a bottle with me. It's those that you're offering. You're setting the mood, aren't you? And then you're letting them interpret it how they please.
Which people really appreciate that, and it's like you're bringing the energy that you would want someone to bring to my wedding. That's what.
Especially when, like, again, you've said a couple of times this year that you've had, on those final calls, like couples have said to you, Chris, we want you to bring the energy. Like I've seen the films that you can make when it's there. Like my friends don't need much encouragement, but they might be too thinking that we don't want this. But if you encourage them, they will go. You very much have been like the mood bringer.
Which is a good feeling when people say that, because that's what I try and portray, and that's the kind of thing that I try and give on the wedding day is like full 100%. You've got me. And some weddings are going to be a lot more chill and they won't need that version of me. But like if I get a couple and they're like, we love the energy of your films, like we want you to bring that to us, that like is the ultimate compliment for me. So
definitely it should be, I think. But like you said, I think that maybe with the kind of the downplay of the editorial sign, like the violins and the black and white 50 frames, I think is going to go. And we're not maybe going to go right back to the early 2000s and these like super like choppy, like really fast films are going to come back. But I think, again, very much kind of like camcorder style, like, oh, here's me stumbling onto people having an amazing time, laughing their heads off or doing whatever. That style very much kind of almost like home video style. I think
like the stabilization will be turned off during dance floor stuff.
Actively, and I think, like say, almost like home video style fun. That's I think it's going to become. Like, or again, people that are content creators make them all like that, but I think there's me videographers that are leaning towards that style. Like we were saying, there's me photographers taking digital photographs and making them look like film. I think there's still going to be plenty of people out there, like you say, with the stabilization turned off on their camera and whacking the Super 8 LUT over the top. There's going to be a lot of that coming. And I think as well, that kind of what moves on from that, the last point that I've got is I also think there's going to be a lot more sort of performance pieces and like group activity at weddings. Like when you see kind of, rather than like, oh, we're going to have a magician perform to you, it's going to be, oh, we want all of you guests to do this for us, or something that you watch rather than just take part in. Like I know I've got 2 couples next year which are having, rather than having like a wedding cake so that people have to stand around and watch them do a cake cut, they're having like a tiramisu constructed at their wedding.
Oh, that's sick.
So like the people will come out and start building dessert in front of the couple, and then they all dive in together.
That's so good.
Or like so it's very much more like a piece of theatre. Like, oh, we're constructing this thing for you, which although it looks super fancy, you still eat it.
I've seen that with caterers this year. Like caterers are starting to, well, I say starting to. I've seen I had a couple weddings this year where caterers have cooked the food out in the reception drink area. And they're like setting the fires up.
So you can see the smoke and
you can see it all being
like, again,
cooked.
I think that like performance element of it is, I think, because if people are like, oh, I'm a foodie anyway, so I love to see that. Rather than kind of people come out in like white, like white silver service and they all stand and put your plate down together. The idea of seeing like really people that like believe in like artisan food or really good kind of bakers making this kind of elaborate thing in front of you.
You see the fire and the potatoes like being rolled around on the thing.
And like I know, again, maybe because it's the type of weddings that I do, that like, but that like sharing style and family style kind of, long tables with sharing platters of dinners. I've had a lot more of those this year than like silver service dinners. And I think with that kind of those elements coming in, a lot more of that's going to come back in. I think that's why these like illustrators that go around weddings and take and draw pictures of people to hand them, or live painters, all of those things I think are going to have a lot more of a place in weddings next year, rather than the normal photo booth, or here's just very much it's the kind of things that people still get something to take away with them, but they see it kind of being constructed, like it's like live BTS, isn't it, of this thing. I think you're going to get a lot more of that next year, and also I think as well, the last kind of point I mean is with the kind of the Gen Z thing, is with the super documentary and all of that, I think weddings as a whole are going to become a lot more casual. I know it's become a thing that we've talked about, even photographers at high-end weddings now, it's kind of okay to wear trainers with your suit. As a supplier, I had that thing about wearing shorts, and everyone's like, yeah, it's fine. I think that's going to seep across as well into weddings. I think to have a bride that's like, oh, why am I going to walk around these heels that are really uncomfortable all day? I want to have fun. Like, you start to see it already, but I think that's going to become almost cool. Do you know what I mean?
I think there's definitely more of an encouragement to be yourself.
Yeah.
And if that means that you don't want the luxury silver service dinner because you don't care for roast dinner or wedding meals and you just want to serve up a barbecue, you do that. Or if you don't want to wear a plain white dress and you want something that's a bit more, is it boho, that kind of like, then just crack on with it.
But I think almost
much
that,
less.
like the next level of that is almost just like shameless comfort.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I've seen like a couple of things kind of this year where like there's the bride in like the paper McDonald's hat with like a cheeseburger in the paper in each hand because they've just got a shitload of McDonald's delivered to their evening food because they all love, like all of our friends, if they were on drunk nights out, would go and get chicken nuggets on the way home anyway. So bring them to the wedding. Like, where before it'd almost be, oh, that's a really budget option, or you didn't get a caterer, you went and got McDonald's.
That snobbishness
it's
around
becoming cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I've had weddings where they've had just like 50 Dominoes and like seeing like the best man on the dance floor holding literally a box of pizza in one hand and a slice in the other and dancing away. Yeah. Where before it almost, oh my God, I can't believe you did that on your wedding day. Where it's like, that's so cool that you did that. And I think you're going to get a lot of that, like, or kind of, no, I want to be comfortable. So that's why I decided to wear like a mini skirted dress, or where the groom was like, no, I wore a suit with a t-shirt because I wanted to. Yeah. And that's my, like...
That makes me happy is when people do stuff like that. Yeah.
But I think as like a world or a generation, like that idea of like, oh, you have to suffer to be beautiful, or you have to wear something, like you have to dress a certain way to be at a certain occasion.
The perfect, clean, traditional wedding day.
That is easing away in life in general. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's which I'm grateful for. Like, I don't want women to walk around in like massive like toilet roll dresses like they did in Tudor times. Like, the fact that we people can go out in tracksuits and gym wear and stuff, that's totally fine. But I still think that up to now, kind of weddings and stuff has been kind of a garrison of, no, you wear your best stuff.
Yeah.
But I think there's almost going to be an element of weddings where that's kind of okay to not do if that's not your thing.
Turn up in your shirt, just unbuttoned at the top, and that's your wedding outfit.
It's not the fact that you're there and you're built and you're there and have the right things about you to have a best time is much better than... than that you see.
You're conforming to some sort of expectation.
And also, I absolutely hate like the bucket of like flip-flops at the side of a dance floor, because it's almost become like a thing now where women will wear heels that'll kill them, so they have to wear like flip-flops at the end of the night or slippers or whatever. It's like, no, it's
pretty helpful for them.
Yes, it's helpful. It definitely is. But I just the fact that that's become a thing. Do you know what I mean? Where even now I've started to see this year brides are going, no, I've just brought my slippers with me, or I'm going to wear my Crocs all day with my dress because they're colourful and I like them. Like that kind of element of it. I would prefer that.
Or even just I bought my Air Force for me to go underneath.
Or people can bring their own bits of their own personality to their weddings rather than I have to wear this because that's a dress code for the wedding. Like I think there's going to be less of that and more kind of individuality, or I couldn't wear that because it would upstage the bride. Like, do you know what I mean? Everyone will be much more kind of on a level as a celebration rather than...
morning flat layers, some Converse, an Apple Watch, and a baseball cap.
Again, I had some bridesmaid this year and like who had a Garmin on all the time, and like she even said to the bride in the morning, "Do you want me to take it off?" And she's like, "No, that watch is like I know that you will be gutted that you can't get your steps for today if you take it off. So yes, you can wear it." And like that almost level of kind of like, I don't know what the right word to use is, kind of tradition, I suppose, or like
allowing yourself to break tradition, but also being more casual. The expectation,
I think that's it. Yeah, the expectation for a wedding to be like a super strict, formal thing. Like I think that's going to go out the window even more. As we move into next year.
Agreed. I
like the idea of that as well. The idea of some of the stuff I think is there's going to be definite elements which are more of a struggle for us as photo and video, where kind of that marketplace has become more crowded with content creators, venues wanting like that kind of the fight for us to kind of to find our place at a wedding is going to be harder. But I'm actually really excited for the direction that I think weddings are going to lean into.
To see what new things start to appear.
And not even from a lazy point of view, but like as a whole, if I got married again, I'm not sure that I would have like a midnight finish and a massive disco, because there's not particularly a bit of me. Where like to be allowed to kind of go, oh no, it can just finish early, or we can do...
I'm hoping it just means that there's less cake cuttings.
Because
when I ask couples and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're doing the cake cutting," we're not really sure why we're doing the cake cutting. Why do people do it? And like, why are you doing it?
Why you don't know why you're questioning it.
And that's what I think will change. People won't question it. They'll just be like, "Well, we're not doing that."
And that'll be very much, I think, again, the part of that kind of Gen Z switch of rather than a lot of us have been, no, we'll toe the line because it'll keep our parents happy, or well, tradition dictates. I kind of like tradition anyway. It's fun, isn't it? Because you get this.
Whereas their parents are millennials.
Yeah, they're going to very much be, no, we just don't want to do this, so we're not doing it.
Yeah,
and that will become much more accepted. I think again because their parents are like, And I think that as a kind of a general kind of direction of where I think maybe weddings, not even just the industry, but weddings as celebrations are going to go.
Yeah,
that I think is really exciting.
I hope so.
Yeah,
that's a good positive way to round
it is,
up,
isn't it?
isn't it?
Actually? Really, I think so. Yeah. And also, it's been actually longer than I thought it was. How would I knew that we had more to talk about the future than we did about the past when we did our catch-up episode? But yeah. Do you agree with any of that? I think that's probably the best thing to say. If there's stuff, we said earlier in the episode, if you're offering hybrid, are you still finding that it's popular against content creation? Is there anything really obvious that you think that we've missed? Have you got any ideas for trends that you think that we should have covered? Again, drop into our DMs. We would love to hear them and kind of maybe do a read-up of those in the next episode. Yeah, it's always really nice to hear from people who have listened to the episode, not only to know that it's not just a number on a screen, but also when people have their opinions. Like I love getting a voice message or a message from another supplier or somebody just saying, oh, I heard this and I really think this about it. And there are some things I've got built up that I want to mention in certain episodes, but particularly episodes about that wedding suppliers using content. I've got a load of messages about that, and we got some Spotify comments and things about that, with other suppliers from different areas giving their opinion on it. So I don't know if I've even talked to you about this yet. No, you haven't. Maybe we should. That'd be a really cool episode, though. And also, selfishly, when we did the part 2 of our episode 50, where we had the voice notes and we read them out, that was still one of my favourite episodes we've done this year. And maybe we should be saving this for the wrap-up. But the idea of we could do that where we read out, again, like we had a podcast of the people where loads of people sent in their opinions on a topic and we just read them out. That's some of the ones that I enjoyed the most, because I feel like it's less just us spouting our opinions at you, and it's generally a more kind of consensus of the nation. Yeah, definitely. I've even had some people who go, oh, I actually feel really strongly about this. Can I come on and talk about it? So I think like the best way to do that is to have voice messages and be like, if you want to, have your say, send us a voice message. Definitely, play it out. Yeah, and we'll figure it out. And we will do it. Because again, I really liked that last time, and it was nice to kind of tend to hear that there are voices out there, that are people that have opinions that probably are shouting back at us while we're talking about it. It's always good to hear. Yeah, we want to give you a voice as well. So yeah. Sweet. Well, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you in the next one.